Yeah, so I wanted to take a minute today and just kind of address the elephant in the room, and that's mental health. This field is pretty stressful. So I thought, hey, why don't I give a talk about it? So here's my agenda. I'm going to give an introduction to myself. I'm going to talk about some job pressures, imposter syndrome. I think there's quite a bit of that out there. I am going to talk about burnout, how we can become resilient. Can this all be fixed? And then, if there's time, we'll get to questions. So, introduction, Ben Hartwick. I don't really social media. That's not my thing. I'm from the school of the hard knocks. So I did not go to college. That has been one of those things that led to that imposter syndrome with me. So, you know, I look at people out here, I'm like, man, there's people that are bright. I'm not one of them. I am one of the technical advisors at Mox 5. So I get involved as soon as somebody's having that bad day and they recognize that there's ransomware all throughout their environment. That's my job. I take them through that. Hobbies. I like to spend time outdoors, I like to spend time with my family, music. I overthink things. I worry a lot. I do a ton of soul searching and just looking for peace and calm. And you see here, my dream job is to be done with all of this. I want to retire. So why should I listen to this guy? You showed up, so I've been in this field for a long time. I've gone through all of it as far as imposter syndrome, burnout, stress, just the desire to not be in this field anymore. I've lived through every point of the thing that I'm going to talk about here. I've made a bunch of mistakes. I think we all have. And I like to curse. So you're going to hear that I drop some F-bombs in this. If you're concerned about F-bombs, if you're concerned about cursing, now would be the time to get up and leave. But I think it's not too bad. So who's this talk designed for? People that are new to the industry, you don't know what you're getting yourself into. Veterans of the industry, I feel for you. This is for you. Consultants, it's a tough gig. Managers, C-levels, shoot. Any field of life, this is for you. Job pressure. We're on to job pressure already. Cybersecurity. This is one of those fields that just stresses people out. You always have to be right. You know, you're working in a SOC. You have to identify that intrusion. You have to know about it right every time. Nobody can do that. People have really, really bad days when they're breached. So this is coming from the client side, the counsel side, the incident responder side, all of it. When somebody's breached, it's a bad day, real bad day. We'll talk about that a little bit. It's not just the company that's stressed out, it's everybody that's in the engagement. And then you've got some of us that like to put that self-pressure on ourselves. We have to do everything right. We have to be great. Well, you know what? Might drive some of us. And last but not least, the world is in absolute shambles. So I'll show you how to avoid some of that. Imposter syndrome. So I'm gonna not kill you with PowerPoint. Don't worry about that. I don't have a bunch of really long slides, but this one really sticks out to me. So it's a noun, imposter syndrome. The persistent inability to believe that one's success is deserved or has been legitimately achieved as a result of one's own efforts or skills. So basically, hey, it's people going, I shouldn't be here. When I got into this field, I was selling phones to a guy in this audience. So I was actually selling voice over IP phones. A buddy of mine says, hey, I've got this gig doing cybersecurity. You interested? I'm like, man, I don't know shit about cybersecurity. And he's like, no, you know more than you think you know. I'm like, no, I sell phones. I know how to do a packet capture. I know how to configure some switches, some routers. And he's like, that's more than a lot of people know. You do know what you're doing. Come on over. So there began my journey. But what I'm trying to say is that, you know, just because you don't think you're the best at it, you still know something. There's a reason you got this gig. Then we'll talk a little bit about burnout. All right, so this one here, physical or mental collapse. That's all it needs to be said. There's more to that, but it's just when you physically and mentally cannot do it anymore. This is what I see in the incident response world. This is what I see in SOCs. This is what I see at doctors' offices. This is what I see all over the place right now. Nobody wants to talk about it. Nobody wants to do anything about it. Well, let's see if we can't change that. Can it be fixed? Maybe. I don't know. I think it's up to the individual. So we'll talk now about kind of some of those resiliency steps. Now, I said I wasn't going to kill you with PowerPoint. If you're going to take a picture of something, don't do this because the words are too small. Basically, the idea behind this talk is that I went through, and the CIS has about 18 security controls now. It used to be 20, to implement into your environment to keep your network secure. I said, man, I wonder if I can do that with mental health. Figure, what the heck, let's try it. Control 1. This is supposed to be the easiest control out there. You know, it's the first thing that you're supposed to start with. Inventory and control of the enterprise assets. Nobody ever gets that right. Nobody ever knows what's in their environment. I'll just let you know that now. But, you know, when I look at this, I look at it as an inventory of your mental health resiliency. So, what is that? What's my mental state currently? Am I burned out? Am I stressed out? Am I happy? Am I glad? I don't know. And then you have to think about, what are you trying to protect? So as people that are in this industry, they're going to go, well, I'm chasing money. I'm chasing likes. I'm chasing anything. But really, protecting that mental health is what's going to allow you to do all of that going forward in this industry. Control 2, inventory and control of software assets. I liken this to goal setting. So I think anybody in this field needs to have goals. Where do you want to be professionally in 1, 3, 5 years? If you're just getting into it, hey, maybe I want to get a job. What's my next one? Well, 3 years, maybe I'd like to be an analyst instead of just on the help desk. 5 years, man, maybe I'd like to retire. That's usually about the time you get burned out. Start thinking of retirement. Where do I want to be personally as well? So the thing that doesn't get taken into effect enough is professionally, nobody cares what you want to do personally. But it's extremely important, because if you don't set yourself up personally for success, you're never going to be able to do it professionally. You'll also talk about, hey, where do I want to be financially 1, 3, 5 years? We all know that the housing market sucks. We know that inflation has risen. I don't know what 3, 5 years looks like, but I guess hopefully this year I'll be able to go spend some time outside. And what can I do to achieve these goals? So what you need to do, start thinking about that. Start putting it down on paper. Data protection is number 3. Control number 3, data protection. How do you actually protect your mental health? Some people, they like to get involved in video games. Turn yourself off. Some people like to just step away, get away. Now, I was listening to a talk right before this, and it was interesting. She was talking about capturing the flag and how you'll be staring at something, a problem, for a while. You just need to get up. You just need to step away. Free your mind, because a lot of times that's actually going to put you in that place where you can understand and move forward. And then change, you know? Sometimes to protect your mental health, there needs to be change from within. So whether it's change a job, change of the circle that you're hanging out with, doesn't matter. Sometimes change just needs to happen. Control number 4, secure configuration of enterprise assets and software. So what does this mean? This is, when I look at this is setting boundaries to accomplish your goals Boundaries have to be set in this industry. Boundaries have to be set in every industry. So depending on what your professional goals are, personal boundaries need to be set. So, hey, you know what? Professionally, I want to make 6 figures. Great, I'm gonna go get a job making 6 figures. Now, but at the same time, I only want to do that 8 to 5. You gotta take what kind of job you're gonna get. You might not go into the incident response world because that's not 8 to 5. Depending on your personal goals, professional boundaries need to be set. So yeah, my personal goal right now, I talk about family, I talk about hobbies, I talk about spending time away from work. Well, I set some professional boundaries. I said, you know what? I'm not working 24/7. I'll be happy to come work for your organization, but no, I'm done at about 6 o'clock. Every once in a while, yeah, I might stay a little later. But overall, no, I'm checking out because I have to meet my personal goals. And then depending on your financial goals, man, there's really tough choices that need to be made. Do I have that beer? Well, I might need to do that for my personal health, mental health. Do I buy a house? You know, just depending on what your financial goals are, choices need to be made. This is where some of that change comes in. Control 5, account management. And I'm flying through these right now. I've got all sorts of advice for you at the end, but I just wanted to kind of show you how this is tied together. Control 5, account management, knowing your limits. This is one thing that a lot of people don't take into effect. Can you go 30 days in a row working with no breaks? And burn yourself out. Just step away. Can you go weeks without personal contact? Sometimes you're on these cases, you're looking at all sorts of stuff, and you realize it's been 2 weeks, and man, I haven't seen anybody that's actually in my circle of trust. You function on a couple hours of sleep. Time zones change, all of that, or no sleep at all. If you're looking at, knowing your limits financially, you afford those drinks. Can you afford that fun? Maybe. Access control management. This one is probably my favorite control because it talks about the circle of trust. When I got into this industry, there was no mentors out there. There was nothing. It was just you get into this and you just learn it on your own. Well, go get yourself a mentor. Is the mentor focused on helping you or helping themselves? Are your friends beneficial? What do you need to let go from your life to accomplish all of those goals that you set up earlier in those couple controls 2 and 3? Control 7, continuous vulnerability management, soul searching. In order to attain that mental resiliency, you have to constantly reassess. You have to think about, hey, things have changed. Am I happy with work? Is it meeting my goals? No, walk away. Am I happy with my personal life? Well, maybe these people are no good for me. It's time to walk away. Am I happy with my financial status? Maybe you need to get a side gig, or you go, I make enough. I don't need to make any more. I'm good. You're staying in the same spot. Control number 8, as we go through these, is audit log management. So this is where I look at following up with mentors and friends. Let those in your circle of trust know what your goals are. Let them know so that they can hold you accountable. If it's just me holding myself accountable, I'm going to slip on a lot of things. When I've got somebody that I trust, a friend, a mentor, and saying, hey, this is the goal I want to achieve. Can you help me achieve it? Yeah, I'll help you. I'm going to hold you accountable for it. You want to also listen to their advice. Good or bad, doesn't matter. Listen to it. You don't have to do everything that somebody says, but it's advice nonetheless. It can be good, can be bad. Listen to it. Control number 9, email and web browser protections. So this is where you want to control what you are saying and who you're saying it to. So throughout the years, in all the industries I've gone through, there's those that just bitch. They just complain. It's all they do. They don't bring anything to the table. Are you bringing solutions along with your bitching? And does what you're saying actually build people up or destroy people? So this is where you have the ability to control how you're doing it. My recommendation is, even if you're new, been in your career a while, opposed to just complaining, bring a solution. It may not be the right solution. They don't have to accept the solution that you bring. Bring something to the table instead of just a complaint. You're going to make it a lot further in life. Control number 10, malware defenses. We all know that malware defenses are needed to protect your environment. Well, a healthy body and a healthy mind. These are really important. A lot of us, we work remotely from our basements, from a desk. We go, oh, that little ache or pain? I don't need to do anything about that. What's your body trying to tell you? Stressed out? You burned out? Is that headache actually a headache, or is it a brain tumor? Go to the doctor. Go get stuff checked out, Take some time to actually help yourselves. Listen to your mind. If your mind is telling you you need to step away so that you can actually solve the problem, step away. Step away. Hey, that kind of takes us into this data recovery thing. So when I help people through ransomware incidents, one of the big things I always ask them, do you have backups? Do you have a way for us to recover you? No, they don't. Well, mentally, you need to be able to recover. You need to mentally refresh. You need to take your breaks. I don't care if you schedule them on your calendar, 15 minutes every couple hours. I'm taking my breaks. Probably already set up for that with your work. Time for a vacation. This is one that everybody should do. Take a vacation. Take a vacation now. Plan for it 6 months down the road so that you're actually planning something and looking forward to something. Is it time for a stiff drink around a bonfire? Mental refresh. Or go and touch some grass. We spend all day behind computers. Just go out there and just be with nature, just a little bit. Touch grass, as the kids will say. Every once in a while I'll have a good game in video games, and some kid just comes on and says, go touch grass, because I've just shot them 8 times in the face playing video games. I think we need to do that here as well. All right, Control 12, network infrastructure management. So what does that mean to me? Creating a plan for dealing with the stressors in life. Scheduling those doctor's appointments and going to them. Young, you don't have to worry about it as much. You get some gray in your beard, go get that physical. Schedule your alone time. I don't think enough of us do that. Even if you have families, I've got kids, I've got a wife, and scheduling that alone time for myself is huge because I don't want to deal with their problems either. Sometimes you just have to step away. Eat your lunch. I don't know how else to say that. I don't know how many days I sat behind a computer with a sandwich next to me where I'm like, man, there's another hour. I'm just giving the organization. Schedule the time, step away, and schedule that vacation. I think we talked about that on the last slide. Go on the vacation. Don't sit there and just wait for that paycheck. Oh, we're going to pay you out on your vacation. Great. I just worked 3 straight years so I could make a couple grand. Forget that noise. Take that break. Take that vacation. Control 13, network monitoring and defense. Listen to yourself and your circle of trust. So it started off kind of in my intro. I've been in the field for a while, since the late 90s, right? What was that? That's at least 5 years. I think it was 5 years ago that the late 90s were. But you know what? What I found when I first started my career is that it was based on loyalty. Everybody had to be loyal to the organization that they were at. You know what? If it's time for a change because your employer sucks, leave. You'll find that once you're in the cybersecurity industry for a quick minute, you're going to be really marketable. You won't have a hard time finding a job. If it's time to just close your computer, close it, walk away. I'm done for the day. It's not going to be the end of the world. Might want to let some people know, especially if you're running a case or something, but you know, everybody gets a chance to step away. If it's time to unplug, unplug. Sometimes it's, I'm closing this, I'm unplugging the damn thing, see ya, I'm walking. If it's time for that sick day, because you're stressed, because you're not there that day, you've got something else that's on your mind, you know what? Take a sick day. That's what they're for. You know, mental health is also a sick day. We're almost to the end of these controls. This is the part that, you know, here we're going to talk about some security awareness and skills training. You know, adversaries are always changing their attack vectors. So let's try to level up, you know. Let's do some of that skills training, level up personally and professionally. Go get that certification, you know. Certifications are cool. They're going to help you find that next job. Go back to school. You know, I told you I didn't go to school. I thought, man, I'll go back to school. I actually worked for a hospital, and they're like, yeah, you have to go to school. You have to have a bachelor's degree to work here. I'm like, being paid decent. I don't see myself going 50 grand in debt. I found a new job. So pick up a hobby. Learn how to play the guitar. Learn how to play the air guitar. Learn how to play the bongos. Just do something out of the norm. I guess knitting's a big thing now, or crocheting. I hear that a lot of people are getting back into that because nobody can afford clothes because of inflation. And then, so read some of those books, and I don't care if they're smut novels. I don't care if they're, just try to pick a book that doesn't have to do with anything computer oriented, unless it's like Ready Player One or something like that. That's pretty cool. Or, you know, step out of your comfort zone and meet somebody new. Go out and actually meet somebody. You'll find that when you step away from a computer and you step away from social media and actually just go interact with people, people are actually decent. They're not all these crazy psychos that you see on some of these platforms. They're actually good humans out there. You should go meet some of them. That's my recommendation. Control 15. This is your service provider management. That's a tough thing to do in the world, is just, you know, trying to manage service providers. That can be a daunting task. For me, it's friend and mentor assessment. I've realized in this world that, unfortunate as it is, some relationships, they just end their course. Whether it's your mentor, maybe you've outgrown your mentor. Maybe it's an old high school buddy that you're like, oh man, this person was great, but they're not helping me. They're not with me. Sometimes you just have to step away. You know, I look at it, is your friend helping or hurting? I had a lot of friends that like to drink a lot. Drinking's cool. I don't have a problem with drinking. But when you're trying to stop drinking, drinking isn't cool. Maybe those friends aren't worth hanging out with. Is your mentor helping or hurting? So there's a spot, I think, in a mentor's career where they go, man, I'm just finally at that point where the person that I'm mentoring has almost surpassed me. And they might start looking at some of their own self-interests. Ditch those people. You've gotten out of them what you need to. And then here's the thing that it's time for everybody here. Reach out to somebody else. Become a mentor for somebody else. So I've been trying that. I'm not good at it. I fail a lot. I probably give people terrible advice, but yet people still listen to it here and there. But you know, help some of those that are newer into the field, some of those that are older in the field. Help them to understand how the new way of doing things is. Me, I'm an old dog in this field. I really am. There's not many people that have been in it as long as I have. And to watch the newer generations come through with their ideas and their way of doing things, it's exciting to me. I want to just take them all, wrap them under my arms and go, okay, you're the next folks to do this. Don't fuck it up the way I did this way. So even if you tell them your mistakes. Control 16, application software security. Wow, that's a mouthful. This is where I reassess those goals from earlier. I talk about 1, 3, 5-year goals. Well, I like to reassess those because you know what? My goal after 1 year, it may have been, hey, I want to get that promotion. Well, shit, I lost my job. One of my new goal this year is maybe go find another job. I didn't actually lose my job, and I'm not looking for a job, but that I could see where that's an issue. I read about a lot of people losing their jobs. But you always have to continue to reassess those goals, all of them, throughout. And that's where this control comes in. Think about it, how close am I to accomplishing my goal? I told you in my intro, my dream job is retirement. I've got 9 years. 9 years and I'm done. I'm stepping away unless something happens. It's my goal right now. I set a 9-year goal. Figure out how close you are to those and keep pushing forward. And did my goals and mental and health objectives change? Before I had kids, my goal was to make sure I made it to work. I was working 1 o'clock in the afternoon till 10 o'clock at night. Man, I need to wake up, I need to go to my job, I need to be to the bar by 11. Those were my only goals, And so as life happens, you need to reassess those goals. You need to switch them up a little bit, possibly. So, Control 17, incident response management. So, incident response management, this is where I'm at right now in my career. And all I can say is, holy shit, everything is falling apart. Because when somebody is breached, when somebody is hit with ransomware, they don't know what's up, what's down, what's left, what's right. They know nothing. How can you get back on track? So as you're going through these first 16 controls of this, and then everything falls apart, what do? How can I get back on track? I heard somebody say once, eat the frog. Has anybody ever heard that saying before? So eat the frog, what that is nobody wants to do it. It's doing that thing that you absolutely don't want to do and knocking it out at the first part of your day. Eat that frog, because you know what? You don't have to stress about that all day long. You don't have to stress about that all week long. Quit putting that stuff off that's just a stressor and just do it. You'll find that you're just lifted up just a little bit because you've done the thing that you didn't want to do. And it's tough. That is one of the hardest things in this whole presentation to do, is to eat that frog. Remember, setbacks do not mean complete failure. You could be going along 1, 3, 5 years, everything's going smooth, something sets you back. You didn't lose everything up until that point, just a setback. Keep pushing forward, keep pushing forward. And then always think, what can I learn from this? What can I learn about all my failures? Worked for a gentleman, and we were trying to figure out how to script triage packages to automate and come back to us so that we could then analyze those. And I'm like, man, I'm not very good at scripting, but I'll come up with something. And I'm like, but what if it breaks? He's like, man, these servers are already busted. What does it matter? Just figure it out. What can I learn from this? I can learn that the mistakes that I make along the way help create that tool that they now use. This is the last control. Then we'll get on to some advice. So, penetration testing. Welcome to the world. The world is a giant pen test. You guys realize that? The world is a giant pen test. So, everything that we talked about in control 1 through 17, goals, mentorship, friends, all of that, the world is going to test that daily. It's going to throw the most obscure stuff your way, and you're supposed to deal with it. So how do you deal with that? You look back at those controls. Hey, I had a bad day today, What happened? Well, I was in an airport for 6 hours. Well, that's terrible. What can I do about that? I can call them bitch. That's going to make me feel good. How about I bring a solution to the airline and say, Why don't you bump me up to first class? It means that you made me sit there for 6 hours. I took some of those steps that I had earlier, instead of just complaining, get something out of it. It's time to test that mental health resiliency. Results are gonna vary. So as you go through this, talk about setbacks, talk about learning, talk about, just continuing to push forward. But you know what? You're gonna make mistakes. We're all gonna make mistakes. I don't know anybody in here that's perfect. Not me. My wife tells me I'm perfect, but that's the only person that says that, and she doesn't even say that. But anyway, so results are gonna vary. You're gonna make mistakes. Learn from them. Learn about where you are struggling so that you can try to improve. So I realized one day that, you know what? I was stressed. I was burned out. I had imposter syndrome. What did I do about it? Well, I started looking at life and I said, well, I can sit here and I can chew on this and I can let it eat me inside and I can let it spit me out, or I can do something about it. Well, I flipped that script and I said, I do know a few things. I know 2 things, just 2. I woke up today, I'm gonna suck a little bit less today than I did yesterday. That's about it. That's all I can really do, is just try to be better every day. You don't have to be great. You don't have to be great. You just need to be better today than you were yesterday. All right, let's change the world together. Anybody want to change the world? Let's talk about some communication tips, some mentoring tips. Maybe the 12 of us that are in here can go out and change the world. So I knew that there was probably going to be some people that are new to the industry here, right? So here's a communication tip for you. Strive to listen to understand. So a lot of times, you're listening to people, information goes in one ear, rattles around for a minute, and goes out, but you don't really understand it. So you gotta just really try to understand. But then you're gonna also ask some questions about that so that you can understand. You're gonna strive to set some boundaries. When I started this industry, when I was started in this industry, drank from the fire hose 24/7, 365 for about 4 years straight, just drinking from the fire hose. I needed to set some boundaries. Strive to set some boundaries. You're not going to be able to do it right away. I hate to say it, that's just the way this industry is. Right away, you're going to jump into a career and you're going to go, man, I'm finally in the cybersecurity. Cool. And they're going to chew you up and they're going to spit you out. But you know what? Set some boundaries, you'll be all right. And understand that it's okay to fail and not to be perfect. Somebody hires you, they finally bring you into their organization. They know you're new. They know that you're gonna fail. How bad do you fail? Learn from those mistakes. So, understand that it's okay to fail. And my mentoring tip for those that are new to the industry, get one. Get a mentor. I never found one. I wish I would have. How do you find them? They're usually the person that's gonna be a little salty in a corner. Maybe they've been chewed up a little bit. Maybe they've gone through the ringer a little bit. They can tell you some of those mistakes they made along the way. They can tell you how to just do a little bit better. Find a mentor. Next up is my favorite, the veterans of this industry. So, you'll notice there's something that's pretty familiar here, is listen to understand. So at this point now you're a veteran, you've been in the field for 2-3 years, that's what I consider a veteran. So, you need to just listen to the higher-ups, you need to listen to the people that are below you. You need to understand where they're coming from. Listen to understand. It's now your chance to question the norm and present some of those alternate ideas. I wish I would have said, hey, I'm not working past 7 o'clock. Wish I would have done that years ago. It's time to know your own boundaries. You should have already been there to set up some personal boundaries, some financial boundaries, some professional boundaries. Know what they are and adhere to them. Know that you aren't perfect either. You're still going to make mistakes. You're still going to fail. My mentoring tip, find the newbie. Bring them up. Teach them your way. Your way's not so bad. You've been in it a couple years now. You haven't died. Consultants. I don't know how many, do we have any consultants in here right now? Okay, cool. This is pretty much a moot slide then. You'll notice that it still says listen to understand, because as a consultant, you need to understand what your clients are actually asking for. I don't want you just chasing the dollar. Don't just chase the money. Chase a solution. Come up with a solution for your clients. Don't overcommit. Just would drive me insane when somebody would say, yeah, we can do this. And they overcommit. They overcommit for their team because they got a lot of faith in their team. But you know what? It takes more than 24 hours to bring up a network that's been down. Mentoring tip, mentor your clients. You might want to mentor some other staff, but mentor your clients to take that security journey with you. Be by their side. Don't just disappear. When things get tough, don't walk out on them. Managers, any managers in here? Any managers dealing with a little bit of burnout, a little bit of imposter syndrome, all of that stuff? Here's my communication tip for you. Let them know that it's okay to set those boundaries. Be like, yeah, it's all right to have boundaries. Make sure that your employees don't think that they have to answer you on Slack, Teams, email at every hour of the day. It's okay to start your message with, hey, I'm working tonight. Please respond to this in the morning. That way, your employees aren't stressing about what they haven't responded to. Go bat for those that are under you, you know? Be the one that actually goes to bat for them with senior leaders. My mentoring tip. So you're in a management role, so you know you're kind of already essentially trying to mentor people, I hope, but help by setting some realistic goals, or actually having goals. I've worked at a lot of organizations where there's no goals. It's kind of neat, but at the same time, having a realistic goal is cool. And also care more about the person than the result. Your employees are going to screw up. They are. But you know what? Caring that person, you're going to help lead them, you're going to help boost them up, and they'll do a better job for you the next time. My favorite manager was the one that just said to me, you're terrible at security. Get better tomorrow. That was my realistic goal. Get better tomorrow. And you know what? After a couple years, I got a little bit better. I'm not perfect yet. Are there any C-levels in here? Any of the C-suite? I know a lot of them don't come to these events because there's not enough sales guys there. But here's something, if you want to send this to your C-levels, you can tell them that Ben sent you. You know, communication tip, talk about good things that are happening in the organization. But don't sugarcoat it, you know. Be truthful about the struggles too. So tell them about the good and the bad. Hey, we did great today, more than just sales numbers. You know, talk about the happy client here and there. Be truthful about, well, shoot, we've got people leaving. Why? Why are we having these struggles? Schedule time with individuals. I've got a boss right now, a CEO right now, that reaches out to me and he says, hey, Ben, you want to have a quick 30-minute coffee? Do you realize what that actually does for the morale that I have when, and they're not talking work, he's not shoving numbers down my throat or anything like that. How are you doing? Goes a long way when leadering. Is that even a word? I don't know. It's all right. Mentoring tip. Trust the decision makers that were put in place. You put them there for a reason. So I've seen this over and over again where some of the C-levels, they feel that they have to micromanage their managers or their directors or their whomever because, you know, this is truly my organization. I've got all the stakes in it. Fuck, you put them there for a reason. Listen to them. Create an environment that people want to be a part of. Listen to those that have the courage to tell you what's wrong. A lot of people don't like doing that with the big boss man. No, I don't want to tell you what's going on. Listen to those people because they're actually trying to help. So, I'm going to wrap everything up, and I'm talking to everybody here. This is my bullet point list of just try to become an awesome human being. This is how you do it. Spend less time on social media. All right? I'm not saying you got to quit it entirely. You know, LinkedIn is great for finding new jobs. Instagram, I want to see pictures of my nieces and nephews every once in a while. But you know what? When I look at people that follow a lot of stuff on social media, it's just bad news that comes through every day. And if you're constantly inundated with bad, you don't get a chance to see the good that's out there. Eat the frog. Do that terrible thing first so you can just get it out of your way. Touch grass. Go outside. Get away. Just unplug. Don't be overprotective. Be willing to put yourself out there. Be willing to fail. Fail often. I learn more from failure than I do success. Take those risks. Doesn't matter what it is. It could be personally, financially. Anybody want to invest in Bitcoin? Try every day to just be a little bit better. It's kind of what I've been saying throughout this whole thing. Just be a little bit better. You don't have to move mountains. A little bit better. Life is short. Enjoy the journey along with the destination. Tell people that they don't need to respond right away. I wish more people would do that. That's really something I'm trying to sell. I hope everybody gets on board with that because I'm that type of person that puts a lot of pressure on myself. And I would love to just know, hey, I understand that it's 11 o'clock at night. We're in the incident response world. You feel like you need to answer everything. This is a tomorrow problem. I wish more people would just say that right away. Say it in the subject line so as people that do need to check, they can look and go, this is a tomorrow problem. I don't even have to read it today. So, with that, questions, comments, concerns? How can I help?